And I see we have our expert pre-K person here, Sarah Penny, this morning, who will be talking to you. And probably going to turn it over to you then, Brelly, first, or Mark.
Mark?
Sure. Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us today. And as all of you have been on, you've been hearing, today is all day for CA, so we have lots of gear on. I'm going to take my helmet off though. But we sure thank and appreciate you joining the Academy in pre-K this coming year, and we're excited to welcome you onto campus. And I'll just start by saying, our commitment is certainly to providing the best program we can. And we realized last spring when we were going to be an online and when the governor said it was going to be for the rest of the year, that we started looking at, okay, what can we do to make sure we could be on campus and in person? And so we have done many things. And our commitment was, we knew that little kids and kids in general learn best when they're on campus with their teacher and with their friends and classmates. And so we moved from 28 homeroom classes to 45. And we built, 5 classrooms in the gym and 4 in the wrestling room and science rooms and computer labs. And we used the library, every available space to make sure that we could have kids on campus. And that's our commitment, is that we want to make sure the program we're offering is in the best interest of children. And so this morning, we're very fortunate to have Sarah Penny here, who's the team leader for the pre-K team. And she's going to kind of walk you through some slides, but also we want to leave plenty of time so you can ask any kind of questions you have about the program. And we certainly, we're planning moving forward that things will continue to improve and we will be back on campus, but not in these small pods. But if we have to be, we certainly would do that again to make sure kids are on campus. And now I'm going to introduce Brelly Fahrenkopf. And Brelly is the Associate Head of Lower School. She's also the Director of the Early Childhood Program. So she's kind of your main contact with Mrs. Penny, or your child's teacher with Mrs. Fahrenkopf. So good morning, Mrs. Fahrenkopf.
Good morning. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this rainy Thursday morning. We're happy you're here to learn more about what to expect next year for your pre-K student. It's the early childhood program at Academy is just such a fun, rich experience for the children. We're excited to share more with you. We're excited for Sarah to tell you about it today, and then for you to get to experience it for yourself when you come on campus in the fall. So Sarah, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you. And
put
Sarah,
questions in the chat too. If
yes,
who has any questions, put them in the chat. We'll address them for sure.
Yep.
And Mark, are you sharing the slides, or shall I grab them?
I could, and
I believe Brelly has them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry. Wasn't quite. So Sarah, why don't you introduce yourself while I pull up the slide?
No problem. I'm Sarah Penny. I have been teaching at Academy for a very long time, about 17 years. I taught kindergarten and second grade here. I also have 4 kids, 3 who are currently at Academy, 1 who has graduated and is making her way through New York City at the moment. So we are excited to have all of you come. Our program is blossoming, and we are just really, really excited to start with a lot of kids next year to enjoy and start their learning here at Columbus Academy. So thanks, Brelly.
Yeah.
So we start our day with tabletop activities. When they come in from morning recess, they come in and they get started with their day, doing some fun things that we lay out on the tables for them to play with. It gives them time to socialize, and it gives them time to work on some skills that they might need. So we may put pattern blocks out, and for some kids it may be just simply building with pattern blocks, whereas another child I might sit with and I know that they're working on AB patterns or ABC patterns, and so it gives us some one-on-one time to meet with each child and check in with them and see how their day is going, and also to to meet with them and meet their specific needs, even though they don't know it. So we also start after tabletops. We go straight to morning meeting, and morning meeting is a time where we greet every child. We have an activity and a sharing time, and we move on to calendar and weather and kind of those typical early childhood activities. And we always do a morning message. You can see in the picture, a little one is reading the morning message to the class. It gives them an opportunity to share and speak. Eventually they'll get to junior speeches, but they start in pre-K reading the morning message. So it's just a great way to start our day where everyone feels a part of the group. So. We have stations that begin first 6 weeks of school when they come into pre-K, into all of the grades in the lower school are really is really a time for building community. But then stations start shortly thereafter, the first 6 weeks, where kids are partnered. Sometimes they're in groups of 3. And then the activities that we do, you can see all the different academic areas. We have a science station and a reading station where they're listening to books and they're doing an activity after they listen to the book. Creation station is varied. At the beginning of the year, it's a lot of cutting and gluing and practicing some of those basic skills, how to snap a marker closed and other fun things, how to put away our tools and how to organize our pencil boxes. And then there's also certainly a lot of time spent on handwriting and creative writing as well. Math and certainly ABCs, we're doing all of those things, learning letters. And the great thing about stations is that we differentiate every time. And so it gives us an opportunity again to meet the child where they're at. So in an ABC station, some kids may be working on just forming that capital letter with shaving cream, and another one may be writing their name in shaving cream, or they may be working on their numbers. And so it just depends on where your child is and where they're coming in and where we can take them. More station fun. Woohoo! And then free choice is certainly a big part of our day. We want to make sure that there is time for children to make their own choices in who they play with and what they play. And so you can see the kids engaged in all sorts of activities. And even this year, you know, we were certainly able to, we started with yoga mats where each child had kind of their own play area and their own activity kit. And then, you know, as we got the okay from the nurses, we were able to do some things together, and then that we were able to, you know, do stations as well, so they could work together cooperatively. But free choice is just an amazing time. You can just sit and take anecdotal notes from the moment it starts to the moment it ends about how kids are socializing, how they're communicating with one another, and it gives us as teachers good insight and things that we can work on the next day at our morning meeting, or even, you know, later in the afternoon, and say, gosh, you know, let's role play this, let's work this out, and let's figure out, you know, this is something we need to address with the whole group. So it's a great time to see their imagination and see their communication skills. Dramatic play during free choice. We certainly love our dramatic play in pre-K. We like to pretend that we're lots of different things. This year we have lots and lots of cats and tigers and lots of animals. But we do make sure that there are lots of things that the kids can play with, that they can create on their own, but also that they can dress up and they can play house. And so we have all of those fun things at school as well. It's really fun because this year, certainly they've had fewer toys, and it's actually been wonderful to see how creative they can get. You know that they're all creating cell phones whenever they can, but beyond cell phones, we've had, you know, beds for animals that they've made out of toilet paper tubes and all sorts of really fun things. So dramatic play is always great too. Mr. K is popping in to say hello in his Viking helmet. We do writing. I know it sounds strange for pre-K to wait a minute, my child's not writing yet. Good, they shouldn't be. And they might be doing doodles and whatnot. But we start fairly early, giving them a blank book and talking about drawing and what authors do. Actually, I was having a conversation, a writing conference with one of my kids yesterday, and she said, well, I had to revisit this work. And I said, well, I'm so glad, because that's what authors do. And so we do a lot of drawing, and then as the year progresses, they may do some labeling. And again, it's where each child is at. Some children may just do the first letter sounds, some may be sounding out the initial and final sounds, and some may be getting some of those intermediary sounds as well. And then we also can help them write the words if that's what they want. So we just want them to feel good about sharing their ideas, and they also have opportunities to share their ideas with their friends. So it's a lot of fun to hear them present. Again, those presentation skills are wonderful when they're sharing these beautiful stories that they write about all sorts of wonderful things. The phonics dance is how we teach, the program that we use to teach our letters and letter sounds. So it's a lot of repetition. There's a chant for each letter, and the kids learn the letter sound. You can see we do lots of kinesthetic learning as far as letters. We are writing them in the air. We're writing them with our heads. We're writing them with our arms. We're writing them on, the carpet. We are writing them in sand and in shaving cream. We are building, you can see two kids laying there, they're making the letter O on the ground in that picture. And then we also are working on coming up with words that start with the cat meow sound and other things as we move through the phonics dance. So that repetition gives them a lot of opportunity to learn the letter, what it looks like, and then learn the letter sound. The co-curricular classes we have in pre-K, we have music twice in a 6-day rotation, as well as Spanish and PE twice in a 6-day rotation. We have art once, swimming once, library and wellness with Mr. Diddy, our school counselor. So, and swimming is certainly gradual for the pre-Kers. Our swim teachers are blow your mind amazing. They are just so thoughtful in the way that they approach swimming with the kids, as are all of the co-curriculars, but swimming, certainly sometimes there's some trepidation there, but they do a really, really thoughtful entry into the swimming program, coming into the classroom first and reading a book about swimming and talking to the kids and getting to know them, and doing some activities with them as they prepare them to get in that pool. And they all do, and they all come back happy every time. Even my little ones that are there's always going to be a few that are nervous, but they always come back excited about what they were able to do. Forest Fridays are a wonderful opportunity for our kids to get outside. We dress down for the day and we just go. Every day we go outside in the morning, and at recess time, we call it outdoor play in the morning, where we go for about a half an hour each morning to play, and then at recess in midday. And then a lot of times that we have an opportunity in the afternoon to maybe go outside for about 20 minutes, depending on how well everyone rests and if we still have sleepers or not. But then Forest Fridays are a whole day of outside. Now we certainly come back to our specials, but we are exploring the woods, we are exploring the creeks, we're getting down and dirty, and my class in particular, we've found some eggs in the creek, and so we've been researching those and trying to figure out what animal these belong to. And right now there are a bunch of tadpoles in the creek, and so that's been really fun. So we've learned all about the life cycle of a frog, and so we've been watching videos and reading books, and we're just waiting. They're really upset that they're not going to get to see the final frog because it takes so long, but they're very excited that we might get to the froglet stage by the end of school. Service learning is a big part of all of Columbus Academy, but in the pre-K in particular, we start by looking at our classroom community, moving on to the bigger circle of our school and who are the people in our community and what what is the function of the people in our community and what makes our community special. And then looking at the local community surrounding us here in Gahanna, as well as Columbus. So each month, the upper school kids go to Faith Mission. They deliver food and serve the food to Faith Mission here in Columbus. And our kids make cookies once a month for that, and they also make a lot of cards, and it's a great opportunity for the kids to understand that it doesn't matter how young you are, you can start and you can share your gifts and you have things to contribute, and they make wonderful, it's just always just heart, it just, melts your heart, but it also, it's just so impressive to hear the connections that they make, and that they understand that this is doesn't stop with us. And it also is something that, we make these cookies, but this doesn't solve the problem. And what else can we do? And them just being aware at 4 and 5, we are just blessed to have these these beautiful minds thinking in this thoughtful way about what their role is as part of all of these different communities. In school, we have planted Ohio native plants by the pond. We've mulched pathways. You can see them down there with their little cups and scooping mulch. We've delivered paper snowflakes. We've done lots of different things. And we also pair up with other grades every opportunity we have. We've listened to middle school speeches, which is always a blast. The kids come down and they read a book, and our kids grade them with a rubric on how they did. They give them a smiley face, thumbs up, or 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 not so. Usually they try and be thoughtful, but they do let them know if they need to be louder or they need to slow down, and so that's a lot of fun to see them interact with the big kids. We've planted plants, we've played games, we've met different advisories from the upper school and middle school. Depending on what they're working on, we're able to pair up with them, so that's always so special. The kids absolutely love it. So math groups. This is an introduction to concepts, but also an introduction to manipulatives. I keep looking over here because you're all over here. The manipulatives we use are pattern blocks and unifix cubes and things that they may have had some experience with, but certainly at 4 and 5, their experience is limited. So we want to expose them to geoboards and dominoes and dice, Cuisinart rods. So lots and lots of different manipulatives. What's great about the math groups is we get to mix the classes. And so I may have a couple of kids from my own class, as well as a couple of kids from the other 2 classes. And then we work that way. And then later we can introduce specific concepts, like maybe I'm working on one-to-one correspondence where you're trying to count things out and match, do puzzles and whatnot. So it's a great opportunity for the kids to work with other kids, but also to work with other teachers. And that's math groups. Outdoor play, you can see we have lots of fun, no matter the weather. So bring your snow pants, make sure your kid's all bundled and has extra gloves. We have lots of extra gloves at school, but it's always good to have lots of fun outside, but you have to have the right gear. More outdoor play. And then buddies. We have buddies. The 3rd graders are pre-K buddies, and they love it. They, I think, love it more than the pre-Kers because they're the big buddy for the first time. And so they pair up. We pair up a 3rd grader, or sometimes 2 3rd graders, depending on the numbers, with a pre-K, and we do things every couple of weeks. So we have introductory activities. Sometimes we do a big morning meeting together. We go outside and go on hikes together. We play together. They teach us different games. We've played dominoes with them. We've played tic-tac-toe. They've actually made their own tic-tac-toe kits together. And so that's another great opportunity to work with different groups. Birthday celebrations in pre-K are pretty simple. A family member can come in and read a book to the class. You can also send in a book depending on your schedule, and we sing a birthday song and we share a birthday treat, nut free. Mr. King, would you like me out there? I'm in the
Unless
PreK
you wanna go to
meeting.
Unless you want to go to my classroom.
Okay. I'm going to scoot this way. Just one minute. So we have holidays and celebrations. We certainly have them in pre-K. We do, I'm going to put my mask on because I'm in the hallway.
Getting a lower school tour now too.
Sorry, Mr. Kegelmeyer has a math group in the resource room. So we're nothing if not flexible in pre-K and everywhere else. We celebrate all sorts of things in pre-K. Certainly Halloween and Valentine's Day. We also celebrate the 100th day of school. And we also make sure that teachers or that families can come in anytime that they would like to share. Hopefully that's okay for next year. We want you to share your talents. If you are an amazing guitar player, come on in and play guitar. If you want to share your fabulous recipe, come on in and cook with us. If you are an amazing runner, we'll run with you. Whatever you want to share, you certainly can come in and we can make it happen because we want the kids to learn about each other's families. We also want the kids we want them to understand that we are all part of a community and that we are not just mom and dad, that we have lots of dimensions and that they do too. So it's a good way to experience families, to have them come in. Pancakes and pajama day. PJs and pancakes day is amazing. We have lots of fun. We make pancakes. Brelly was busy passing out toppings this year, and we even made it work this year. But parents usually come in and make some pancakes, and then we play lots of games. Again, mixing up the kids from each classroom so they have an opportunity to do fun things together. Star student we have in pre-K, that's pretty self-explanatory. We want to celebrate each child and we want to give them an opportunity to talk about themselves and share their family. They get to pick photos and bring in a special item and then a book to read. And then last year we started a story about the star where the parents get to choose a story about their child that they want to present. And that was a great addition to our star student activity because we got to learn, we got to see the child through their parents' eyes. And then wellness time with Mr. Diddy. Mr. Diddy is our lower school counselor. He is in all of the classrooms throughout the lower school through 5th grade. And we do lots of wonderful things with him. He comes in and he does all sorts of yoga and mindful moments where the kids are learning about themselves and how to regulate their emotions. And so you can see him playing the drum there. That's a favorite of the kids where they get to move a lot and they get to test it out. Cooking is also lots of fun. We do that every C day. So once in a 6-day rotation, you can see them mashing potatoes. When we can, we mix up classes for that as well. So we do lots and lots of cooking. Discovery is our science activity day. We have Build It Bee Day, and then we have social. So we do lots of science experiments. We do lots of science activities. Build It Bee Day is a day where we may read a story. We just read Humpty Dumpty, and then we're building a wall for Humpty Dumpty with a fake egg to stand on, and we see how well the kids build with different materials. So today my kids are working on building with skewers and pool noodles. And then we have social. Social is, again, kind of building off what Mr. Diddy already does, but certainly in pre-K, the kids are learning all about how to interact positively with one another, and it benefits the adults too. So the major differences between the explorers and pre-K would be, I guess it's not necessarily applicable to all of you because your kids are not in in the 3YO program, but if you've got a 3-year-old, you can see the list right there of some things that are slightly different. But we do have wear dress code every day except for Fridays. We ask that extra clothes are dress code as well.
We have morning recess. We'll see how that goes next year, depending on all of the regulations. And then we will have lunch in the dining hall. And then, as you can see, we have a few more specials than what they did in the Explorers classes. And then we do a lot of mixing of the classes for lots of fun things.
I think that's the last slide. Okay, so that's our last slide. There we go. So I think I don't see any questions in the chat, but just wondering, does anybody have any questions for Sarah or any questions for Mark and I that we can answer for you today?
I wanted to mention one thing, Brelly, Sarah alluded to it a little bit, as far as parents being in the school. This has been, a year where we haven't been able to do that as much, but I think the upside of that is that kids have learned to independently come into the school in the morning for little kids and know that they're in a safe environment. And to be honest, Academy really can't run the school without our parents. So know that you're always welcome. Our circumstances have been so unusual this year, but there's so many opportunities in library volunteers, in the classroom. I always tell people we kind of have a motto: you got the time, we've got a job, so looks like we do have a question about how many children are in each section. Brelly or Mark, you want to address that? I mean, I can, but I know staffing purposes and all those good things. So
our plan is to have 4 pre-K classrooms next year with 2 lead teachers in each classroom. Depending, enrollment is still a little bit flexible right now. So probably about 15 to 16 children in each classroom, depending on where those numbers really solidify. But really nice ratios. We also have an associate teacher who floats between the classrooms to lend even an extra hand.
So sometimes there could be 3 teachers in there, depending upon, and I know they use that, the teachers work together to use that third purpose. The teacher is the most purposeful,
Yes.
in the room, but everything they do is purposeful. So whether it's free choice or whether it's the academics, it's another set of eyes on the kids and being able to make records and notice things that they're doing and keep up with their progress. So good question.
Mm-hmm.
Any others we have in there? Well, I think we can go on with our rainy day then, but we want to make sure everybody has, it looks like it's going to be one of those days where it's going to do it all day too, but that's good.
Just want to say thank you certainly for joining us this morning too. And we're finalizing the mailings and getting those all ready. I know in admissions we'll be sending that out with all sorts of information, but feel free if you have any questions. We're here most of the summer, so feel free to call and one of us or email and we can answer any questions, and always feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions, because we're here for you. We know there's a long time between when you've said, yes, we're coming to Academy and the first day of school. So please don't feel you have to wait that long to get your questions answered. And we really appreciate you joining us this morning, certainly. And we're excited to see your boys and girls when they arrive in the fall.
Yes, I want to say thank you all. I'm so glad that you're all here, and we really, really look forward to meeting all of your sweet kiddos soon.
Thanks,
Have a
Sarah.
good day, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.